his you know, his other picks as well. But ADD up in top lane, we saw him on Sion a bunch. But look at all the AD carry bans that we have here. We have Lucian, Ashe, Kalista, and Caitlyn taken away.
Yeah, Kalista has been so powerful in the later half of the first part of LCK, especially with Rox Tigers. I feel like they were the team that started making that champion known across LCK. Then everybody else started slowly picking up, and they credit EULCS for their initial stint with Kalista, and now the entire world has caught on, and now it's just getting banned left, right, and center, and understandably so. It opens up the supports to be playing more aggressively. They can also be an engage, you just chuck them out there, and then the most beautiful combination of Rakan and Kalista, just so nice to see. But Longzhu responds to the Gallia that received some tweaks, but still as strong as ever. Okay, not literally.
Yeah,
a little weaker.
Slightly weaker. I mean, early game definitely has a little bit less pushing power. And look at that. In 7.13, this patch, we're seeing a Rek'Sai come out even before Lee Sin or Elise.
Oh, you know it. She bought her way into the meta with the consistent barrage.
She bribed
buffs.
Riot for the buff. She's like, please, get me back on the Rift.
We know why she's here, and we also know why Kog is here. MVP has been taking a page from the Chinese teams over at Rift Rivals, who were first picking Kog'Maw, but it's also a denial pick. Longzhu obviously was taking notes during that tournament, and one of the popular combinations that we saw was Kog'Maw with the Gallia. And you know that Prey and Gorilla have been pioneering the Kog'Maw Lulu combination for many years in the past, and letting them have that again, maybe not so much, as we saw how effective the Chinese teams can be with those picks.
Yeah, Mercy and Longzhu pick up another pretty strong AD carry nowadays, especially with all the ADCs banned. They want to make sure that they can get something that's viable nowadays, so they pick up that Varus and also Gragas. I mean, he must be up near 100% pick ban rate. We see this guy all the time nowadays.
He's imperative to playing against Kog'Maw. A regular jungler against Kog is going to have a near impossible time to actually get to him and displace him or even kill him, especially with so many protect the Kog'Maw compositions. And while MVP isn't quite running that, you do have the Gragas that can allow you to always just chuck him out with a barrel if you can't get near him, or insect him into your team. And so far, this looks like Longzhu is going for a setup that will allow Khan to shine. He has been playing that Jace earlier in the last week of LCK. He's been playing the Gnar in solo queue. You know that Gnar is so powerful right now with the buff to Boomerang, the buff to his Crunch. So the pick makes sense, and the already standing line of utility that Longzhu has allows the remaining members, well, basically just Khan, as support hasn't been taken, to just pack as much damage as possible.
Nice little drawing there on the right. It's pretty cool. Got that picture. Whoa! Whoa. Into the intense stare. Alrighty then. Okay. And wow.
That is not the face of Mercy.
That guy is not having any of that. He is one of the coaches for MVP. He's got a little book there. I think he's one of the coaches.
No, I think that's
maybe he's just a ref.
That's like the ref, yeah. That's ref.
Why is he taking notes then?
Well, you gotta have it written down in as many places. Well,
yeah, maybe
whatever.
he's taking notes on what they picked and stuff.
Regardless, what they're not picking is Braum and Tahm Kench. So great tank synergy from the bottom side from MVP being denied away. And I like the choice from Longzhu. They're making sure that if you want to protect your Kog'Maw, it's going to have to be at the hands of a Thresh, or go with something that's easy to catch like a Lulu. But now we get to see what Khan is going to be playing the top side. And I really hope we get to see some Jace or Gnar, because those champions pack such a punch. And Gorilla is going to be going on that Zyra, who, again, one of the highest damage DPS champions for the support role. So far, Longzhu with a beautiful just 5 Deathman Death Ball composition.
I really do like it too, because I was looking at their picks and it did seem like they were lacking a bit of damage overall, especially with the Galio and the Gragas. But now we have a hover on the Kha'Zix for Cuz.
It could be it, and yeah, that's going to be the Kha'Zix. So he did get a little bit tweaked now, more isolation. The damage relatively unchanged. It's only when he starts getting those damage items on him that he can start dealing enough damage. But Cuz's most picked champion is that Kha'Zix, 8-2 on him. So he's had a lot of success. And actually earlier today, I was thinking, why is Kha'Zix so important for Cuz? right, so many other junglers prioritize other picks, and I think I've come to the conclusion that Kha'Zix is one of those junglers that even if you fall behind, you always have the opportunity to kill. You always have kills accessible to you. A champion like Elise, like Lee Sin, you fall off to the point where you never have kills accessible, where you can't punish somebody, whereas a pick like Kha'Zix, not only do you have excellent synergy with Khan, that you can go for those crazy 2v2s that we have seen this duo pull off, but if things were to go sour for them, they always have the opportunity of catching somebody off guard and snowballing their or clawing their way back into the game just from the sheer isolation damage that Cuz brings.
Quite literally, when you're thinking about the Kha'Zix. And just to finalize things, we did have Max picking up that Thresh. There weren't too many picks left over. You know, you think about Thresh, maybe Blitzcrank, but doesn't really fit in the composition. Also, I mean, it's Max, so he could have gone with all sorts of different picks. But I do like the Thresh coming in here.
However, the Kog'Maw does feel like simply like a sprinkle on the composition. It could have worked so much better with anything else, but it's just another threat that this lineup from Longzhu is going to have to consider. Yeah, they've got a sick comp on their hands. It's a full-on 5-on-5. You know that top side is going to be the focus of this team. They can farm safely and have control with Vara Zyra into the bottom side, whereas MVP's game plan is going to revolve a little bit more around the early game. We might see some action topside with Rek'Sai ganking the likes of ADD, but if they fall back into the late game, they always have the threat of damage from Kog'Maw. However, the lack of CC means that they are going to have to rely on mechanical skill to get to that stage.
Crumbs, I know you're disappointed. No Pugmaw in this game, unfortunately. Maha, he's
a cultured man.
I suppose so. So guys, we're going to be jumping into game number 1, Longzhu versus MVP.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yes, it's beautiful.
I couldn't help myself noticing anglerfish Kog'Maw.
I don't know. I'm still a fan of the Pugmaw. Give me the Pugmaw any day. It's too cute. That's like actually the opposite of cute. The anglerfish looks a little bit scary.
Cute. That's not cute. A pause right away. We might have chair issues. Who wants a new chair?
Praise like, oh, this chair's not going to work. I bounced a little bit up and down on it. Can't have it. It was a Longzhu pause. So we were right about the team, it seems, as every single ref that we have on the floor has run into their booth.
It's like a medical emergency out there, but it's only computers, which soon enough that will also account for, I guess, a medical emergency. But we'll go back on these two teams and what they're doing. You know, Longzhu, in my opinion, after seeing Rift Rivals, I think they're in my eyes, the heavy contender for the 3rd seed. And the 3rd seed beating Samsung. Samsung was lackluster at Rift Rivals. I think that they were experiencing a lot of individual mistakes that have forced them to rely on their previous tendencies of going for the late game, just as a let's get some wins in. And while at times they have brightness in their play, the one that comes to mind is Crown always not using his summoners where he understands how far he can push his limits, but those individual mistakes are something that the likes of Longzhu punish so well. And if we see a Longzhu that comes out today swinging, that just obliterates MVP, I think that they have a real shot in taking down Samsung from the standings and looking towards being that 3rd seed in Worlds, assuming that KT and SKT make those first 2. I think we can all agree for SKT, but the likes of KT still a bit on the fence.
I mean, KT's looking really good too. They've really come together as a team and have become a lot more consistent in what they're trying to do, and they've been getting those wins.
Kind of.
They have been.
Kind of. They still tilt like crazy.
They do at times. I mean, we saw the deft tilt in that one game where he kept on face checking the brushes. But overall, I think as a team they have become consistent, more consistent in summer compared to spring. But in terms of Longzhu, I'm definitely on the same page with you. Even from earlier on in the split, you and I were getting pretty hyped about this team, and they've been looking quite good. BDD has been performing, and I just like the overall feeling of the team, too. It seems like morale is really high, they're getting really hyped for every game. We see even Prey bouncing up and down, getting really hyped for his team as one of the veterans in this lineup and saying, okay, guys, let's go. It's MVP. We got to take this really seriously. And even look at the other side. Like, we're getting this super long look at Cuz. And one of the younger guys definitely bringing more energy into the lineup as well.
Well, put yourself in the shoes of Prey and Gorilla. You've been playing for 5 years now. You've been playing together for so long. You've had veterans. You've been on a star lineup of Rocks Tigers with a lot of other veterans as well. And now you have to go on another team that earlier didn't have a lot of success. And all of a sudden, you strike gold when the likes of Khan, Cuz, and BDD, as relative newcomers to the scene, are just performing wonders. Out of their mind, they're looking already contenders for being some of the best in their role, at the very least, top 5, right? And that's a lot to say for guys that are just coming onto a team. And if individually they're not top 5, it's the synergy that they have amounted to that is showing and allowing them to take these matches in convincing fashion. So many games where they just obliterate, and they even have fun with it, right? The Kled, the Nexus Rush, that kind of move. And it's refreshing to see that these two players are kind of bringing back that fun style from the Rocks Tigers and blending it in with the likes of newcomers that have that thirst for just practicing hard, getting really good, winning as much as possible. And it's so far a mixture that has resulted in one of the most exciting teams in the LCK.
Yeah, you could definitely say that myself and Crumbs are getting excited for Longzhu. We'll hope that.
Well, talk to me about MVP. What excites you about MVP? Because I got lots about MVP.
I mean, they're looking better overall. I was very disappointed about their.
Tell me what excites you, not what disappoints you about MVP.
I mean, I got to go through the whole spiel if I'm going to get to where I'm excited, because the climax of my excitement for this team.
Phrasing.
I know, but seriously, the climax of my excitement was at the end of spring, where I'm like, these guys, they really performed. They defeated Afrika in the playoffs. They didn't make it to the upper echelon, the top 3, right? They tried, but they were looking really good, and they were a relatively new coming together team and looking better and better. But then they come into spring and they drop the ball, and I'm like, what's going on? And, you cited perhaps it's just all of the picks that they have, the weird stuff. You remember even ADD in the beginning was playing a bunch of Sejuani, trying to bring in these new picks. And we saw him trying to play Jax. And nothing really was going right for them. But I'm hoping that taking that quote-unquote break over at Rift Rivals to bring yourself together, maybe talk to a bunch of the Chinese teams, will reinvigorate this team and give them a better shot. Because right now they're down at the bottom. I think they're in 9th place.
Yes.
And it's not really looking too good for them.
So you're just not excited about MVP?
I lost my excitement, Crumbs. I'm sorry. So, guys, we're getting an update on what's going on. I know in-game overping doesn't really explain too much.
Is that even a sense? Like, what?
Does that explain much at all? I'm not very sure. But basically, I think
game over in ping. Okay.
Yeah, you got it there. So I think it just means that the ping is very high in game, and some of the Longzhu players weren't happy about it. I heard something about frame rates too, so maybe that's related. And so we're just going to remake the lobby, get everybody in there, and have them just pick exactly what they did, and hopefully get this started soon enough. I think this has been the longest pause so far of at least SPO for summer, which is pretty nice. It means that we haven't had issues before today, which is good. Things are going better.
Well,
we're improving.
I don't want to, I'm not a crazy tech savvy, but I think we're on LAN and there's ping issues.
I don't know 100% if we are on LAN. I think we must be.
We're not on LAN.
I would hope we are.
Yeah. Let's hope so for the sake of the integrity of these matches.
Yeah.
Did we just get? We have to be. Whatever. MVP.
I think we are. Yeah.
So here's.
You were talking about how you're not too tech savvy. I'm even lower than you.
So there are some things about MVP that are troubling, in that Barons, they have kind of donned themselves as one of the worst Baron teams this time around, and in part
They're just like actually, the kamikaze Baron
But they're
team.
they willingly walk into these kinds of situations where they themselves are okay going for 50-50s. That's just their thing. They're that confident in it. Now, you could take one approach and think, damn, if they're really that good at these Barons and they're always confident in it, then you go for it. If it works for you and somehow it's a flawless system, then we can't question it. However, the system has had way more flaws than anything else. It has resulted in Baron steals, in just getting wiped at Baron, losing Baron, not doing anything around this objective that makes me think that the entire core of the foundation at which this team is behaving and approaching the game is what's causing these issues. And, you know, the foundation, their approach to the game also translates into the pick, so it's a more tangible thing for us to look at and say, yeah, this is what's happening. But overall, the approach that this team is taking is not in putting as many factors as they can control and improving them to the best of their ability to make sure that they are geared for winning. It's just more on letting opportunity win. Is this new pick going to work? Ah, it didn't work. Let's try a new one. Is this new pick going to win? As opposed to taking full control of their play.
So, guys, just a little update for you all that are waiting. We're just in the lobby now. We're doing the bans, and we will get those picks underway. They're actually picking right now. So we should get this started as long as there are no other problems. Don't want to jinx it. Don't want to say that there won't be any more problems because we might have some more in-game overpaying. So got to be careful, Crumbs.
Like he's selecting the rune page carefully, making sure he's not picking the wrong page, the wrong master. You don't want to be Fervor Rumble, although we have seen that work in the past in NALCS.
If MVP wins, this guy is going to the military. That's what he says.
Doesn't he have to go regardless?
Maybe he'll go earlier than he previously planned.
Yeah, you can postpone it. You can postpone it. How does it feel to no longer hide behind being the best region in the world?
He's got 7 days until he has to go to the army. So I guess he doesn't really have a choice.
I think the Korean the casters are speaking about him in depth.
Yeah, they're actually having a conversation. That's why we were able to learn that he is going to the military in about 7 days. So he doesn't really get a choice. Like, even if MVP loses, he still has to go to the military, as you were saying. So.
Oh, no.
You know, they say that the military is actually where Korean boys become men. So I think it's a good thing.
That is not something I want to look into.
Why not? I mean, that's where they mature as people. They become adults.
You realize what a lot of other cultures say about the time where you go from boyhood to manhood, right?
What do they say?
I'm not going to say that, but you should look that up.
They mature as adults and they become better people? Like, I don't know. They become more responsible.
No. Let's go back into League of Legends.
I mean, we're waiting for MVP to mature. They've kind of stepped back a bunch. And,
they've seen some international competition that certainly has to have improved their play. At least we would hope so. But remember, they are coming back from a trip. They might be jet-lagged or infused with passion. That almost always is the case for teams that come back from international competitions. You know, guys over from North America that went to Europe, they'll come back reinvigorated. Same with the people over in Chile, then Berlin. Maybe not so much because they already play in their homeland, but you know, getting your ass kicked is always a good thing if you can learn something out of it and you're not crippled enough to not be able to continue.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, these guys, they went just to Taipei, right? Where it was held?
It was in Taiwan.
So, yeah, it was in Taiwan, so it's not really a long flight. I think it's only like 2 hours, 2.5 hours max for these guys. So they shouldn't be too jet lagged.
Are you kidding me? He switched.
He switched to Pugma. Yeah, sick. I didn't know you were allowed to do that, but he did it.
That skin makes me sick.
Makes me really happy. Maha. What do you think about Maha as an AD carry? I feel like there are a lot of other guys on this MVP team that have been impressing me a bunch more. I mean, you look at Ian, he's had some quality games on Syndra. You think about Max, he has that really deep champion pool, the crazy Blitzcrank games, the Scion support games. You think about ADD, kind of that top lane stalwart, the guy who's always going to be there for your team. But then I look at Maha, and I was even just watching him at Rift Rivals. Doesn't seem to have the best mechanics from LCK. What do you think, Crumbs?
I mean, they're 9th place.
Yeah, but they were in 4th place in spring.
Those aren't two very good positions in the fashion that they actually got to those places. So, yeah, this team has its woes, and Maha, sometimes they rely on him, but unfortunately, I think that a lot of these AD carries that haven't been around for a while struggle in these major meta shifts. Remember that this entire year has been so much about utility AD carries that can help your team out. You're all about your Ashes, your Varuses, at times even your Jhin. And now we're having another shift towards Kog'Maws, towards Kallistas, Caitlyn's, and champion pool depth does affect your ability to perform on a lot of these picks. And it's something that we often just see, oh, great, they can play a lot of champions, but a lot of times you have to remember if they can actually play them to the ability that is required. And to me, Maha is one of those players that just is struggling with the shift of AD carries, and it might just be a matter of time before he bounces back into a more stable position.
Guys, you can stop sleeping now. The game has started. And Zyra's Plant almost steals the red buff. Good way to start. But, oh.
You lied to the audience. You said no more pauses, and it was jinxed. It was jinxed, Valdez.
That's why I said I had to be careful about what I said. But
just acknowledging it, jinxed in it.
Now it's like Ian feels like there's a problem or something. Although, yeah, they're saying, MVP is saying that their ping is also irregular. It's at 11 instead of 8, so these guys are really unhappy.
Yeah.
That must be it.
No, that does matter, right? It actually does matter.
3 ping?
Yeah. In game over, ping. Yeah. No. All right. In game over, ping. We're just getting teased after a long wait.
I was so ready to get into it. I was so ready. Then they have to take it away.
Waiting in line for the next iPhone, and then all you find out is that they're just selling earbuds now.
That would suck. I've never experienced that myself.
Oh, neither have I. I just see videos of people doing stuff like that.
So we're still waiting, guys. The pause. Okay, so we're getting another update. Whenever he gets a minion, Ian, he says that there is lag. So I don't know, man.
A minionless game. Well, I think we actually covered as much League as we possibly could have for the amount of knowledge that we have. We don't even have the champions on screen to show you guys what the matchup is like. And we could do radio style, but I think that it's about time to switch the subject and go into another field now that we have. The floor is ours.
How are you doing, Crumbs?
Oh, Jesus.
How are you liking the weather balloon that is Korea?
It's hot. It's very hot here. It's humid, but it's just summer. You know, it rains like crazy, but being here makes me feel liberated. You know, there's so many people that I don't know, I can't speak to, so I walk the streets with not a care in the world. You know, if my flip-flops and my socks, you know, I'm flip-flops and socks every day.
Yeah.
And if they get...
I can attest to that. He wears flip-flops and socks and the same gray sweatpants every single day.
That's not true. Not the sweatpants.
He has 3 different pairs of sweatpants that are the same color.
But it's liberating, right? You get to experience a new-found freedom.
Yeah.
You don't take advantage of that? You're in a new place?
No, I felt like that.
No consequences?
I felt like that when I first came here as well, where it was
what
like,
happened?
Okay,
where did it go wrong?
I mean, nothing really changed. I just got to know a lot more people and just meet people that know, you know, we make relationships, and now it's not like I'm here alone on this planet, or in this country, rather. And I guess it's less liberating after that. When I first came, it was more so this feeling of totally new country, totally new experience. You don't know the country at all. You don't really even know where you're going, which can sometimes be liberating, because if you know the path to go to work and to meet your friends or to do whatever hobbies you have, and you only do that, it's kind of like you're locked into one kind of system, right? Instead of just having the liberty of just saying, okay, I'm going to walk down the street and explore my block, because now that I've been around here for 5 years, I don't necessarily do that because I know everything that's around my block. Whereas when you first came here, I think you were more so like exploring the area, learning about Seoul, getting to know it a little bit more, and I feel like that's pretty exciting.
I still do that.
Yeah. You're still in the honeymoon stage of coming to a new land.
Honey, you can do that forever, though. Always remain in the honeymoon stage. Isn't that what love really is? When you found true love,
yeah.
that you can remain in the honeymoon phase is never over.
That's the hope.
It's a lie.
It's not a
love's
guarantee.
Not real. Just kidding.
Crumbs actually turns out to be really cynical.
No.
About love.
No.
I don't think you're like that.
Maybe. I love myself.
That's good. That's a good first step. You have to love yourself before you're loved by others.
Yeah, absolutely.
Generally.
How can you expect somebody else to love you if you can't even love yourself?
Sure.
It's not like being comatose and somebody has to take care of you. It's a different realm. We actually unpaused and paused again, by the way, so we're trying to get these issues resolved both in love and in game.
I just knew the second we stopped talking about LOL, this conversation would get really philosophical.
Oh, just talk to me about anything. You want to talk to me about video games?
Me and Crumbs were on the train coming over here. I was explaining my fear of death, and he was getting into why immortality is a bad thing. Couldn't quite agree with him at the end of it all.
It's a what? Living forever is like the most boring thing.
Listen, let's say, you know the phrase that's like it takes 10,000 hours to become a master at any subject?
Yes.
So let's say, okay, in this life, your first life, let's just say this is your first life. We don't really know. You become a master of League of Legends casting. You spend 10,000 hours. You become the greatest caster of all time, right? And then you get older and you move on to something else and you spend 10,000 hours, but then eventually you get to the point where you're too old and you're going to die. Then you hit the reset button and you're like, okay, now I'm going to become a scientist. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that idea like really cool?
Then I would have become a scientist in the first place if that's what I wanted to do.
What if you want to do more than one or two things? You don't have all the time in the world. There's so many things to do in the world. You could become a marine biologist and then in the next life become a brain surgeon. Those two things are related to science, but they're totally different.
But just because there are infinite things for you to do doesn't mean that you should be doing all of them.
Well, you're not going to do every single thing. Only the things that interest you.
I see it as a lack of commitment to the thing that you're doing right away. If you can fully focus and immerse yourself in what you're doing, you don't need another life for it. It gives you enough satisfaction to keep going and be content at the end of it that you mastered it to the best of your ability. And besides, you don't even know what happens at the end. But what we do know is happening is that we're getting another remake in the lobby. So we're trying to get these in-game overping issues solved, as well as the issue of living forever, which is awful.
As I said to you before, it's not about living forever. It's just living for as long as you want to. Doing everything that you want to do in life on Earth, or maybe on Mars and other planets in the future, as science does increase in its capacity. But it's not like you're going to live your life and only want to do two things. Like, I don't want to just be only a League of Legends caster or just a broadcaster in general. You could be a broadcaster for your whole life.
But you
could do other sports.
But your mind is set on things outside of your immediate future, so you can't fully embrace it.
Because life is limited, I feel that way. It's hard to embrace only one thing because there's limited time. If there was unlimited time, I could say I could spend like 20 million hours on casting if I wanted to.
Time shouldn't even be a factor in this. Time is a construct of human perception. It's not relevant to 10,000 hours. It's as long as it takes. You ever tried living a day without looking at the phone or looking at the clock?
Yes, of course.
Really?
Yeah, what if your phone is broken? Then you don't have a phone to look at.
What?
That
No.
just happened to me. My phone was broken. I couldn't look at my phone.
But you have a watch. You carry a watch.
So you're saying totally remove yourself from humanity.
No,
go out
that's
into the
not
wilderness.
humanity.
Okay, well, go outside without a phone, without a watch.
Just enjoy the day without worrying about how much time you have left or how much time you have missing. You go to sleep when you're tired. You wake up when your body wakes you up.
Yeah, I mean, I do that in general, like even with the life I live
Right?
now.
Like you stay out until you're like, all right, I'm too tired. I got to go home. That kind of thing, as opposed to, it's 2 p.m. It's 2 a.m. Time to head back on my curfew. The curfew my parents gave me, I still carried it around. I gotta get back to bed.
You and I are on the same wavelength with this idea, at least. I sleep when I'm tired, when I'm ready to go to sleep. Like even last night, last night we were out, and I was like, okay, I'm a little bit sick, I'm a little bit under the weather, I'm going home. I'm tired.
It's just funny just saying I sleep when I'm tired, right? Like, yes.
Why is that funny?
As we all, right? It's nothing new.
It's true.
Right. Yeah.
So apparently, guys, enough with the Bob Ross tell me more story. Cuz says that the problem is the tournament realm. Cuz was the one who came up. It's suspected. Okay, it wasn't Cuz. They say that the tournament realm might be the problem, and so we're going to make a private game.
Oh, I didn't know we had a public game earlier. What? Okay.
Not sure, but same picks and bans. They're doing it. They're about to jump into the game. So sorry about the pause, everyone. This happens every once in a while. I feel like we get at least one of these pauses every split.
We can't apologize to that. That's not in our control. We should be like, yeah, you guys enjoy our conversation.
You guys are stuck with us here.
Knowledge.
You don't. Yeah, Crumbs is all about knowledge.
What can we? It's not
knowledge.
our fault. It's not
knowledge
our fault.
is power, right?
We didn't even get into the game. That's being Canadian. That's being Canadian. You're too Canadian for this.
I'm not saying it's our fault.
Oh, you did say sorry.
I'm saying it's the fault of the people involved, right?
Do you
the servers involved, right? We're the ones putting on the show. We apologize for the delay. Everybody does that. I'm not the first person in the world to apologize for the delay.
Yeah. But did you actually know in Canada, saying sorry is, in the court of law, not considered apologetic to the point of a confession? So you could be being asked for trial on a murder and say, oh, I'm so sorry, like, oh, I'm sorry about that. Just using the word sorry has no connotation of guilt in Canada.
I feel like that would be the same in many other areas, though, right? I mean, you can't just say someone's guilty because he said sorry. You could say, I'm sorry for your loss, but it wasn't my fault. I didn't do anything. That doesn't mean you're guilty.
Well, not sorry for your loss, just like saying sorry. Yeah. Even the buses, instead of saying not in service, it says sorry, not in service.
That's a little bit, well, I don't know.
No, it's true.
That makes sense because it's the bus company. But guys, the game has started, and I hope it doesn't get jinxed because we're off the tournament realm.
That's jinxing it.
We might have another pause, guys.
All right, but finally we get to look at the compositions again. If you didn't remember before, we've got lots of CC on the side of Longzhu between Gragas, Galio, and the utility from the Vara-Zyra bottom lane. And then you got Cuz on his classic Kha'Zix carry champion. Now that it received some tweaks, it's going to be weaker in the early game, but still as powerful when the evolutions come through, when the Warrior enchantment is out, when the Black Cleaver is completed. And then MVP with a more kind of pseudo composition that has styles of their own, with the Jarvan, the Thresh, and the Rek'Sai, as it received an endless amount of buffs. And then you have the kind of Chinese flavor of Kog'Maw and Corki combined. So they do have a super late game threat. But without the crowd control, it's going to be difficult to maneuver around the Galio and Gragas.
Ian got one of those Raptors. Looking to get frisky because he's going to only hit level 2 on this red now.
So just like the original leash, the bottom lane offers so much, and that means that Zyra's not going to get enough plants in the bottom side, but they're perfectly okay with this. You know that Longzhu likes to play around the top side, so as long as Khan has control of this lane, and he can kind of bait out ADD's use of his flag and drag, and we might see Kha'Zix playing a visit to this top side of the map. And this aggression means that the junglers are going to be primed for visiting the top side if they want to get their hands on an early kill.
Yeah. And look at this, Cuz with the very fast leash into the red, right into the blue. And ADD's going in. Uh-oh, there's the body slam. Will he even flash on this? I don't think he can. First blood.
Are you
as
kidding me?
ADD goes on in right on the timing when Cuz is coming up.
This guy, you can't be serious. This is a Longzhu all the time. You play around top side. You've got Gragas Kha'Zix, a great combination for playing the 2v2 or even just ganking all together. You know Zyra leash bottom side. Most of all, you know that now Kha'Zix likes to go for the isolated camp. So going for the Gromp is going to be even more important than going for the other camp. So top side is so imperative for this duo that going for a combo out of all things, are you kidding me, ADD? How did you even get allowed to play Jax?
You're going hard on this guy, man. You're not happy about that play.
That was just awful.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree. Bad timing. I mean, that's such a common jungle route nowadays. Uh-oh, Beyond's coming from behind, forces the flash out of BDD. But yeah, I mean, that's such a common jungle route nowadays. I mean, they even made a video about it over there in NA, I think it was. But, yeah, he's just not respecting that. Cuz now off to a really good start, along with Khan.
And, I mean, every time that Cuz visits the top lane and ADD uses his combo, he's going to be in trouble. He might get baited again by the low HP of Khan.
At least he has his flash this time. Let's see if he can make it out. The teleport's coming in from Ian, and they're looking to turn this around. The combo onto Cuz. They do force that flash. Nice body slam from Khan to get everybody out of the way. You can see Beyond was making his way up and still is on the chase, actually, looking for Cuz. Looks like Cuz should be able to get out of this one, though.
So normally Ian would cancel that teleport as it already acquired the goal of stopping the gank from happening altogether, but he completes it because he was making his way back onto the mid lane and Gallia wasn't there anyway. So one time that use of Summoner Spell is actually effective, and now he gets to go back into the lane, but BDD gets to save his own teleport from Ian's move, which means that Gallia is now going to be looking for some heroic entrances on the other side of the map, a gank on mid, but it's not going to get anything.
Yeah, he was able to Justice Punch, I think is the name of it.
Yeah,
I was thinking about
mana. What did you get for the... Oh, we got him to burn some mana.
Well, if he could have blocked that with no flash, BDD might have been in a bit of trouble.
This is actually a curious itemization out of Cuz. Normally we would have expected a double longsword and a control ward from Kha'Zix at this stage in the game with the assist on the first blood, but he's gone with the trackers, completed jungle item, as well as boots. So prioritizing mobility as well as vision and trying to understand the reasoning why. It does offer for deeper teleport plays if they want to go for the bottom lane. You would go bottom, obviously, at level 6 when Zyra and Varus are at their strongest. But it also means that because he doesn't have flash, he can be a little bit more aggressive, look for Beyond. The base values of Kha'Zix are high enough that he can try to go for a steal, but Beyond has Smite, so he is going to have to retreat from this and then just make Beyond run with the tail between his legs.
Yeah, I mean, with the recent buff to the isolation of Kha'Zix, perhaps he's thinking, if I can spot out Rek'Sai in the jungle, this would be a fantastic one-on-one opportunity. Max, unfortunately, does miss the death sentence, and it looks like Cuz was able to pick up that Gromp after it all.
And waiting for the Smite to come back. But remember that the change to isolation is kind of a tweak. You remove the base value, you tone it down, then you increase the isolation. And I believe the scaling was slightly lowered as well by from 1.2 to 1.1, if I'm not mistaken. And that means that he just needs to go for isolation and stack a lot more AD. And on the isolated target, it's going to make a difference in the later stages in the game. But early on, it's a bit of a nerf But it's still Kha'Zix. The level 6 claws hurt like hell, even the early ones, right? You know that the isolation's all about the cooldown anyways. Or the evolution.
Yeah. You can see already that reduced cost Bomby Cinder is finished up for Beyond, so is going to go for that Cinder Hulk first, perhaps.
That's another change that actually makes Rek'Sai even more appealing for a lot of these teams. We see often if they get ahead early, they'll go for the TM map, but it has been concluded that with enough buff to her attack damage that you can go with a Cinder Hulk to be more effective in the mid game. I have an attempt that this is unlikely to solve. He does have cast.
Does have his cash and his flash, but he does flash first, and he gets locked up here by ADD. Here comes the heroic entrance, but they take out the Gragas first, and now BDD in a little bit of trouble. Is going to try to go 1v2, but does get that double knock up here. Still chipping away at this Galio. He's trying to get those cooldowns up, but there's the Void Rush. Takes him down. Beyond will pick up another kill.
And MVP take full advantage of what Longzhu is giving them. Khan with a bit of a misplay there. Could have opted to just use the slam. You know it can cancel out of Jarvan, but without the ultimate being up, I take that back. It was actually not available when the gank came through. He was done. And that means that when BDD comes in, he's got so much magic resist, but that is not going to do anything against the likes of Jarvan Rexus. So already he can't get out of this situation. Cataclysm comes out, and that's just his own demise. And as soon as Galio comes through, that's just another freebie. Doesn't get the ultimate to go completely onto the Gragas, even though the Screech did go through. But without the flash from BDD, the initial gank on Beyond ends up paying on a kill on BDD in the top side out of all places. And a nice little use of the ultimate to dodge out of that final Q damage to secure the kill onto BDD. And now we have a Rek'Sai that her early game is as effective as it has been all Rift Rivals long.
The cask into the wall. Beyond will try to burrow away, and in fact will get away. Does have to burn his flash as well to make sure that she does get away safely.
It's a quick getaway, but now we're seeing MVP get advantages early on. They're no strangers to early leads, as we saw in Rift Rivals.
The hook, though, onto Zyra. That's going to be a ton of burst damage coming out. Does shove a little bit back here. Mox is getting incredibly low, but the teleport comes in here from Ian to stop Prey from going on the chase any further.
Ooh, MVP definitely getting some good moves onto Longzhu with a good hook, and then just blow her up so easily. Zyra is so fragile that death sentence is definitely just that right away. But MVP, we can't get too excited. We know they can get leads, but can they close? That's the issue. Are they going to be able to do this? They did have that great performance against RNG that struggled in the late game, closing out that match, but they have Kog'Maw in the late game, and free play there, just, yeah, hook.
There's no vision in the bush. He just blind hooked in the bush. There's a control ward in the bush.
Genius.
That was perfect. That's really cool, actually. Nice play from Max, trying to carry the team on his back. Getting that Kog'Maw fed, although Max did pick up the kill.
They're going to be able to go back on Zyra. Zyra is just a free kill every time death sentence is up. Now the heal isn't available from Prey. But MVP's early game is going to have to be focusing on taking down turrets quickly. They do not want to corner themselves into a laning phase that opens up Longzhu for continuously looking for tower dives. Their solo lanes aren't strong enough at this stage to leave those lanes and help the sides. One of the reasons why we're not seeing any attempts on any part of the map. But the second that they get some breathing room, we're going to expect Longzhu to start trying to pile as many people onto one side of the map to overwhelm them with crowd control and then force down objectives. But MVP, they can take down some turrets and force Longzhu to move around. They're not going to be able to hit the damage spikes that they need.
Cuz face checking a brush, will try to leap over the wall. Heroic entrance comes in, the Void Rush, but Beyond does get knocked up. They're trying to get that talk down, and he does get it. And the claws from Cuz will take him out. They will trade 1-for-1 though, as Ian will flash in to secure a kill and use that lantern to get out.
That new tweak to the invisibility keeps Kha'Zix alive just long enough, and then on top of it you have the Galio, who just so clutchly was able to block out that final Prey Seeker that was going to come out of the Embero, as well as the taunt to lock Rek'Sai in, but the flash from Ian ends up securing the kill, and at least a trade of 1 for 1. We might see them go on Max.
Oh boy, in a lot of trouble here. There come the Thorns, and Max is knocked up. Gorilla will pick up the kill.
Ah, so cool when you kill him over the wall. Wasn't even there, and you died from a mile away. Actually, it was like right over the wall, but still.
From a meter away.
In terms of League of Legends, you know, Nautilus is supposed to be like 20 stories tall, so who really knows what sizes are in this game?
I think that's like maybe 15 feet, perhaps? Maybe a little bit more. Kondo in a lot of trouble. There's the knock-up, and what can he really do? He does get a perfect cask, actually, so that is something that he can do. And he gets out with his life.
That's how that first gank should have been avoided. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see where the use of cast came out. So dodges out effectively, and now we got Cuz with the completed warrior enchantment, looking for that black cleaver next, and he's gonna have to start making things happen around the map because Khan is clearly in trouble in this lane, and so is BDD. While he has been farming, he actually might be able to salvage himself. Now, one of the other changes to 7.13 is the Abyssal Mask. Now it builds out of Catalyst of the Eons, which we can agree or disagree with the name, but the main idea is that now the item gives you HP based on the mana that you spent. So the damage that you take is converted into mana, a little bit of it, and then that damage that you do gets converted into HP. So it's a great sustain item for a lot of these tanks. That was the intention with the item, to suffice as a replacement for the Doran's rings that were continuously stacked, although BDD does have some of those D rings himself, and we're going to see a Herald traded for the Dragon. This objective will benefit Longzhu, however, as it is a Cloud Dragon early on, which is just MVP saying, if we're going to have so much control of this map, we better get these dragons rolling so that we get a better one on our hands.
And they might even try to contest it here. Coming on in is Beyond, looking for that Smite steal. ADD and Khan going at it up on the top left, and that Rift Herald is extremely low. Not the Rift rival. That was a week ago. Getting extremely low, though. Will he get the Smite down? It actually does go over to Beyond. Will pay for it with his life, but ADD sneaking in the back, picks up the buff, and a worthy sacrifice is Beyond.
He pulls through. The mission is a success anyway. Some casualties, but MVP walk away with both Dragon and the Herald, so a worthy sacrifice from Beyond. He'll get a medal for that one, and ooh, just is he thinking about it, but he has a ward, so Max still not going for the recall, while Maha is, and okay, he cancels it too. Going with Merc Treads actually in this matchup. I do like that build. He's not going to be subject to lots of physical damage, but he will be definitely crowd controlled by Varus and Gragas.
Yeah, you just got to get out of there as soon as possible. Make sure that you do survive with the Merc Treads. A little bit of magic resist on the back of it too. Max, it looks like he's looking for a play. He's got all of his summoners, but he is standing on a ward down there. So, I mean, as you said before, Death Sentence is exactly that for Zyra, if he can land it.
Oh man, the Abyssal Mask is so obnoxious now for Galio to have, although Corki's completed Trinity is making him a formidable opponent in the mid lane. About 22 CS over Galio, but the Rift Herald going to ADD means that it's not going to be the most optimal use. If you're MVP, you could leave mid-turret to just be Ian trying to take the turret by himself. He has found a lot of opportunities to chunk down that tower. One wave, uncontested, will get him the tower because he has that Trinity finished. But remember that BDD has been leaving that lane. And so it's going to be up to ADD if he chooses to use the Herald topside, or he could just sneak into the mid lane, pop that beauty right there, and one headbutt would be the end of the tower immediately, as it is currently under 50%.
So Beyond making his way down here towards the bottom side. We'll see if ADD actually ever does rotate out of that top lane, or will he just look for that top play? You see the teleport is forced out, actually, of Khan. He does go up into the top lane. And so far in top and mid, definitely a pretty nice CS advantage going over to MVP. Galio was doing a lot of roaming earlier on, and EDD understandably having a decent chance up in the top lane against that Gragas as Jarvan.
some moves coming out from MVP. Okay, yeah, so they're definitely leaving mid for just Corki to take it. But they're going for a lane swap here out of all things. There's a wealth of vision in the red side river for MVP with the control ward, the scuttle crab, but it does get spotted on the attempt on the crab. Thresh being there is already a good enough guess for Longzhu to make, in that the dual lane is going to be tough, but ADD being here is already more than enough. But this could mean that if they can do this...
Oh boy, the death sentence comes on in. That's a ton of damage. He does flash into body slam, and that will be enough to get him out of harm's way for now.
But that's great for MVP, because now Khan, who doesn't have teleport, is going to have to make it back to the lane. I want to see ADD use that Rift Herald now, and he's going to be able to take... Oh, come on, you got to pop that Herald right now. This was the perfect opportunity. That could have been a freebie of a tower. Okay, there he goes. It's a bit late. It's a bit late, but still the idea remains. No, he's not even going to have it tank the tower. He's going to tank... Come on, ADD. There we go. Okay, yeah, great move from MVP. Now they get a second tower.
Boy, look at Cuz. Heroic entrance does come in, and all of a sudden it looks like MVP's in trouble. Khan makes his way over the wall. That's going to be a dead beyond. Ian should be able to get away with his life. This did buy enough time for ADD to take the bot turret, though.
Good mechanics, at least, from Beyond to utilize the ultimate to dodge out of the knockup from BDD. However, the greed on that steal and going for the kill was too much. They keep forgetting that heroic entrance will nullify almost all chances of going for that one-on-one or even two-on-one kill. You've got the invisibility on Kha'Zix as well to get him out of any sticky situation. And so now, Longzhu's considering perhaps something in the top side. Gallia's moving up there. Kha'Zix is already here, and there are teleports available for MVP, so this would be a risky dive at best on the side of Longzhu if they want to start being aggressive. However, that has not been their MO this game at all.
And you can see Beyond was making his way up towards the top side too, just to do a bit of protecting. It seems like the two top laners have come down into bots. They're going to be dealing with that down there. And Corki in a pretty nice spot, already finishing the rapid fire cannon on top of the Trinity edge here. And oh boy, look at this. Max is going to be locked down. Didn't even see that one coming. He just got totally popped, even with his flash up.
Yeah, he got wrecked on that one. But look at the items that allow us to identify how he dies so quickly. That's a Moby's Thresh that hasn't found any rotations. The only moves he has ever made are that hook onto the Scuttle Crab and switching to the top side. So mobility boots have not paid off in any regard, whereas Longzhu, that's Sork Shoes on Syra, as well as an Infinity Edge already completed on Prey. So the damage that this duo does and their laning prowess has increased exponentially, whereas MVP has prioritized the later stages with the Mercury Treads that, sure, they do help in later on, but some one-on-one.
Ian even flashing out, but the chase here from Cuz. He gets knocked over the wall, but it looks like Max is there in time to save his life.
That's the power of Kha'Zix right now. That isolation doing so much damage. Anybody can be killed by that champion, so Cuz remains a constant threat in this game.
Starts the Cloud Drake, thinks better of it. It would be nice for MVP, actually. They would have a nice bit of map presence if they could pick up 2 Cloud Drakes. Definitely make things easier to allow them to get around the map. Looks like that was smited by Cousin, so they immediately go for the Cloud Drake because Cuz doesn't have a smite yet. He's actually even going to be played in here. He's trying to get a smite up, but he doesn't have it. Hanging around for way too long, gives his life and the Cloud Drake to MVP.
What was that, Cuz? That was awful. That's 21 minutes. Now they can transition into a Baron. That's a Blade of the Ruined King, and there's nobody inside. Are they going to rush this? I mean, LPL inspired, maybe?
Longzhu doesn't have a smite. They could even go for Khan here, and the Cataclysm does come down, but look at the chase power of Ian. They're going underneath this turret. Nice cast, but it's not going to save your life. Even Heroic Entrance won't do the job. And it doesn't look like MVP even wants to go for that Baron yet. They're actually taking it a little bit slower today.
They went from Dragon to topside to kill Khan at the tier 1 just because they wanted to, and now they're going to be able to go back to mid lane, defend their turret with the Corki wave clear, and take a tier 1. What is this MVP?
These guys are on point. They came back from China, and all of a sudden, they were eating some of the noodles over there, and they're like, okay, I understand now what we've been doing wrong.
Oodles of noodles have allowed MVP to have a 3,000 gold lead, 4,000 gold lead now after the turret against Longzhu. Some good defense on the mid lane, but that should not have happened for Longzhu. Khan saw that a mile away. I think they were legitimately worried about the Baron threat. There was no vision available, so they panicked, and this is just awful from Cuz. I think he's waiting for the smite. He gets hooked, but just walk out. Just get out at least. Try to run. I think he's already dead when the Flay comes out.
He tried to leap, but then the Flay dragged him back into the fight.
The replay just doesn't tell us the full story. Prioritizing the Scuttle Crab over the Dragon was the mistake, and it was well executed from MVP to immediately rush it. It's a 12-second cooldown in between your smites if you have both charges up, so they take full advantage of that and walk away with 2 kills on top of a tower and the Dragon.
Yeah. I'm sure MVP was like, whoa, what the hell? He just smited the Scuttle Crab. I guess we just take this Drake for free? I don't know.
Longzhu's,
thanks, Cuz.
They're helping them make the decisions for them. It's like, listen, if you didn't know if you had to rush this or not, I'm going to smite the Scuttle in front of you just so you know. This is what you should be doing. So Longzhu being really good here, helping MVP. So very altruistic from them to be playing this way.
So loving, so kind of Longzhu. What a bunch of great guys. What do you think about the QSS pickup on Max? That's saying, okay, I just don't want to be locked up by anyone on the side of Longzhu.
It's actually a good purchase considering his role on this team. They've successfully gotten past the early game into the mid game now, and soon enough we'll hit that late. And Max's job will initially, well, it was the roaming support with the mobility boots, and that amounted to nothing. But now he knows that he's just going to be a lantern bot. He just has to keep Maha and Ian out of danger, maybe help out ADD once in a while, and having the QSS means that he's no longer a viable threat to be engaged on, but this is going to be a freebie for Longzhu, but Jarvan's already behind them if they choose to go for more.
I think they're looking for it. Who will he get the knockup on? He's just going to Cataclysm onto Prey here. Heroic Entrance does come in, but everybody gets out of it, and the ADD in a bit of trouble. Will take that Lantern to get out of here, but there's the death sentence. Khan is going to be locked up, and enough damage comes out with the crit from Ian, and they do pick up that kill. It's just going to be 1 kill going over to MVP.
The initial Cataclysm damage was enough for Prey to just flash out of that situation, and he burned his Chains of Corruption on the initial Jarvan, and that was unable to combo into everybody else, and now ADD walk away with another kill onto Khan, who has been having one of the worst performances of this split for him so far. And now MVP considering vision around the Baron side. They haven't done their due diligence in clearing this, so rushing this would be a brisk decision at best. Oh.
Okay, they're clearing out the vision now. And Galio's bot, he does have his TP, immediately using it here. But look at Gorilla, he's getting incredibly low. Ian looking for that kill, 1 more hit will do it. He does get locked up, but he gets the kill onto Gorilla. They're immediately going to turn off of that Baron after getting that kill. Will they return? It looks like they will. Gorilla not in the fight because he's looking for that steal. ADD setting up the flag, looking for the knockup. They're slowly taking this down. 2 Cloud Drakes not necessarily helping them out this time.
It's the BDD.
BDD coming on in. He does get the hook though onto Cuz. Oh, that is unbelievable by Max. He saves that smite. But oh man, look at Ian over the wall trying to do that damage. Beyond will burrow away and will survive. It looks like they will trade 2 of their lives, but they do get that Baron.
You have to be kidding me. Why is MVP like this? They have everything at their disposal, but they choose to risk the 50-50. Cuz goes in stealth and gets hooked by the death sentence, and Max actually gets the Flay out of the leap, but still, he flashes in range, but the smite from beyond was able to come through, and maybe this is the MVP that was confident, and yeah, we'll take these 50-50 situations. In our eyes, it's never a 50-50, and maybe this could be the game that proves us wrong, and that perhaps they knew what they were doing all along. And
just watch Max and his hook onto Cuz.
The second they corner themselves onto the Baron, you know exactly that it's going to be a 50-50, and so Longzhu is trying to commit waiting for the 50, but the hook, oh, at the final moment, but the smite, he leaps in.
And the Flay onto the leap. Oh, man.
But the smite was already early from beyond, so it really was Max saving that Baron play. I don't think that Cuz had a chance. His only opportunity would have been to flash earlier, and had Longzhu needed to commit quicker to take a fight onto that Baron. You got beefy guys like Gragas and Galio that should be okay going into that Baron, offering a bigger meat shield, then what they did, they lingered around, they were waiting, okay, what's going on, as opposed to being decisive and recognizing that MVP was putting themselves in a position where they could lose everything that they have acquired in the first 25 minutes.
And look at how much they prioritize this Mountain Drake, too. They're already building up a large number. That's 3 Elemental Drakes. Their Elder Drake is going to be so powerful. And having that 1 Mountain Drake is obviously going to be awesome for pushing into this large wave clear of the Varus, of the Zyra, of the Galio, and the Gragas. So they need to push in. Hold that thought, Khan. He's caught out here. He has no way to get out. There's no body slam. Finally, the Cask does come in. Trying to still poke was Maha, but Khan does survive the low amount of HP.
And that's another example of why a lot of teams like Jarvan into the Gragas. You can always catch him. So many other champions have a difficult time picking the Batman off the map, as he can always just body slam away, but opening up with the Cataclysm shows us that if he just stands right next to Gragas, he can't body slam out of there, so it buys a lot of time for Kog'Maw to chunk him out, and that's going to yield a tier 2 for the mid lane. But MVP is not fully set up to rotate anywhere else, so it's going to take him about 30 seconds to a minute to go to another lane, get the waves going, and try to get another tower. But what we do know is that this game is going to be at least another Baron long for anybody to close this out, as MVP is unlikely to be able to crack an inhibitor turret with this one.
Another reason why that Mountain Drake was so important, why they prioritized it so much. And you can see now they're pushing it into the bottom lane. They're sending ADD up into the top lane. Just going to go for a 1-0-4, it looks like. But again, the wave clear is pretty fantastic out of Longzhu. You see the wave doesn't even hit the tower, even once. But a nice amount of poke out of Ian and Maha to try to push back Longzhu so that they can't really wave clear. See the Chain of Corruption comes out, Max just immediately QSS's it. And now with all of that poke, all of Longzhu is forced to go back. Look at Prey, Ian, he's trying to poke down everyone by himself. Flashes in and he gets the rocket. What a snipe underneath the turret. And that will mean that they are going to push this inhibitor turret at the same time.
That's huge. That killed Prey, still had flash. I don't know why he didn't flash that one. And now MVP gets an inhibitor. They're playing so well.
These guys are really on point. I mean, Ian having a fantastic performance on the Corki, and the composition really working out for them.
Oh, MVP, are they good again?
They're playing with our hearts, man.
Oh, they're doing so many right moves. They group up, they use the poke. You've got 3 tools of poke there. You've got Kog'Maw, whose range and artillery is nearly impossible to dodge for the squishy mobile duo lane. Then you have even the Prey Seeker and then Corki to top things off. The heroics from Ian allow them to net themselves an inhibitor. The Baron had died already. Had that kill not gone through, we would have had to wait for another one. But just look at how well they play with the tools that they have. You've got the Hurricane doing so much damage, and Ian sees the opportunity. Okay, nobody's here. Crit. All right, I know what's up. It gets blocked by Cuz, but look at all the angle.
The flash rocket past Cuz.
Neo.
Get your cameras out for that one, boys. We're going deep. That was a pretty fantastic play out of Ian, and it's looking really good on the Corki too. So perhaps another champion to ban against him.
That primes them to rotate topside, as now a member of Longzhu is going to have to address the wave in a couple of minutes. Longzhu might be looking for an engage, but they don't have many places to teleport to. That ward above the tier 2 hasn't been scouted yet, so that will only serve as an engage tool when MVP chooses to siege onto an inhibitor tower. But now Baron is under 2 minutes off, and with that Mountain Dragon, MVP can rush this one and not have to worry about a 50-50 as they did previously.
Oh, look at that hook onto Cuz. They're not going to go deep, though. I mean, really, it's just Ian at this point with the help of Maha. Continuously, you can see how low Prey is getting once again. That's only a couple of rockets. Okay, the flash engage. They're not going to waste any time. There's the taunt, and finally they take out Ian. Will it be ADD as well? Yes, it will be. The stun coming out from the body slam. Max forced to flash this wall. And again, 50 seconds to Baron. This is really important. The death sentence comes out. Can they trade a kill? They will get Gorilla, but it looks like Max will go down as well. And at least Beyond was able to survive.
That's an important kill to trade. And the Nexus turret, that's not such a huge deal. It's just a Nexus turret. You don't have any backdoor split push compositions. This is good for Longzhu. They saw the opportunity. Ian had no flash. They still had their main engages capable of engaging, but the big thing is now Baron. MVP need to set themselves up to defend this objective. Longzhu's best bet here is going to be trying to rush this one, but they have no chance at this one anymore. Ian does not have has teleport and will be coming back on time, so it just bought Longzhu some time. We're going to take another look at that play right here and watch Ian. That's the main guy, the flash body slam into the instant cast, then the flash taunt. So they blew everything onto the Corki, eliminate him right from the get-go. And as a side note, the Jarvan was taking so much residual damage that he was also going down, but the kill trading onto Gorilla was definitely a good move from MVP, saving the final seconds of his life on Max to use a death sentence, and Maha, knowing that he has terrain on his side, to just get just enough damage over the heroic entrance to trade a kill in return.
So, Longzhu does have vision on the Baron right now, but look at Ian coming from the side. He actually kind of misses that package.
You can't cross here. This is not for you.
Just passing through. Just saying hi.
It's like when you're a kid.
How are the kids?
You're dividing the room. This is my side of the room.
Yeah.
And that's here. You cannot cross here.
You just get out that big roll of tape, the white tape. It's like, okay, I'm on this side, you're on that side. I actually did that.
oh, we all did.
Yeah.
MVP is now doing Baron, and there's no sight on the side of Longzhu, so this is definitely theirs.
No more vision, and the Mountain Drake helping out so much. They're going to tear this one down. Nothing that Longzhu can do. Another Baron going over. Gorilla even kind of caught out here. ADD thinking about should he commit. Doesn't look like he wanted to. They're going to save that Baron, make sure that everybody's got it.
And that's why that package, while weird, it did push back Longzhu, bought enough time for them to rotate to the Baron, and you could argue that they already had enough vision, but that just seals the deal. You might as well use it to secure a major objective. You're not going to use it to go for a tower dive at this stage. You already saw what happened, so a good move from MVP. And speaking of good moves, Knight's Vow, double Knight's Vow. I actually love this purchase from both Jarvan and Rek'Sai. It gives a nice chunk of HP as well, and then you have two major carries that you want to protect, keep alive on your team, and you know it's comboed with the Corki and the Kog'Maw, which means that they're going to be a little bit harder to kill.
Yep, just like you're saying, perfect for the composition. But hold that thought, Prey is going to get Cataclysmed in. The heroic entrance, the death sentence though, onto Khan. Look at Cuz on the right side, looking for a pick. Max getting extremely low, ADD in the front, tanking up everything. Cuz looking for that pick onto him. In comes BDD, can he get a taunt onto anyone? No, is the answer. Ian still poking from behind. Longzhu, they need that full-on engage. If they can't get it, they have to back off.
I think I know what MVP was trying to do, but that just was so unnecessary for the Jarvan to go in with the Cataclysm. Maybe he was trying to bait out the damage or the heroic entrance from Galio, but this composition just wants to poke. They don't need to be going for these tower dives. They are not capable of doing so because the carries have cooldowns. They rely on their abilities to make sure that they do damage. And the second that the Bio-Arcane barrage is down, Kog'Maw just has to run. He cannot stay in the fight. The range is too low and it's too dangerous for him to do so. So Jarvan going in and backing off ends up perhaps costing the potential that this Baron that MVP has could have done in destroying the base.
Yeah, MVP, I think they just need to calm down a little bit. They're in such a great spot with their composition, the two poking ADCs and the Knight's Vow builds, and just keep them safe. Don't go in there. You have that open inhibitor down in bottom lane. Maybe you can get that. They still have the Baron for about a minute, but they're kind of in a weird spot. I mean, they've got two people up top. They've got two people in mid. Now they're rotating towards top, and it looks like they might want to just keep Ian in bot with his TP, but he's not pushing it in super aggressively just yet. Scared about a pick.
It's not going to work too well if they choose to keep Ian down there. The wave clear from Longzhu will definitely trickle over, and this does open Longzhu to go for an engage. Remember that Corki is not a champion that you want to have. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Hey, Khan coming from the right side. ADD can disengage. I like what they're doing. They're buying so much time for Ian to push this bottom lane, and he attacks really fast. That's going to be a dead inhibitor.
They play it well. They play this well. Earlier I was saying this is not how you want to play this composition. If they actually end up fighting, if they want to go for a fight, Corki doesn't serve. but recognizing that they just want to draw out Longzhu. They're testing them. Are you willing to engage on us in a 4v5? We're giving you the chance, but it's only a tease. They're never in that position to do so. Khan looks for the opportunity, but they have already retreated, and Ian walks away with a new inhibitor on the last tick of that Baron.
You can see Ian just how safe he is too with this Valkyrie, with this flash up, everything that he's got going for him, the incredible damage he can output. He can just push against two members in the mid lane of Longzhu and just be totally safe. Now, even with the Baron down, they have both of these lanes pushing at nearly the same time. Use Maha in top to poke that turret, use Ian in mid. Longzhu, it seems like they've gotten kind of the composition to deal with the lanes that are pushing in and having enough wave clear. But still, MVP pushing at it. There's no objectives on the map right now outside of these turrets, so might as well just try for it.
The wave clear is there between the evolved W on Kha'Zix, Varus, and Zarya. They're going to be able to take down this turret on the next push, but realistically, another inhibitor is not going to happen. That's why on the first Baron, I was saying we need to see a second Baron for MVP to actually close the deal. The heroics from Ian ended up getting that one in the bottom side, but imagine had that inhibitor not gone down. This is how tough Longzhu would have fought for all the Nexus turrets. So the fact that MVP was able to get that bottom lane was able to accelerate the game, but now we're looking at potentially a third Baron necessary for them to do this. If Maha steps up here with a Bioarcane, he might be able to do so, but Corki's not in a position to fight. They don't have a control in enough lanes to go for this final top lane tower. So the game just stalls out of a pushing war until the Baron comes up.
Ian looking to poke on in, and you can see when they go down to deal with that bottom lane minions wave, they just push in the top lane because there's a couple members of Longzhu that are needed to be pulled to clear out that wave. So they're chipping away ever so slowly, very, very carefully. I think after a couple of those mistakes, I mean, look at the damage that they can do on the poke. Cuz he's down to a third of his health now, just after one auto and one missile out of Ian.
They're creeping over, and that move from Cuz just cost them. No, wait a minute.
Yeah, the engage onto Gorilla there. And EDD, after getting that inhibitor, they want to back off. The heroic entrance actually perfectly timed there onto Maha. Can they kill him? The taunt coming in. BDD will be able to pick him up. Ian, though, still safe on the right side. And lots of low members of Longzhu. ADD even bringing the attention of Longzhu away, trying to escape towards the bottom side. And the rest of MVP will disengage.
That's a minute onto the Baron, and it's not going to be enough for Longzhu to rush that objective down. Longzhu lose that objective because Cuz steps his boundaries. He gets hit by Corki. The crit is great. He doesn't have any defensive tools besides a Tabi and just a Hex Drinker 40 minutes in. So when he takes that chunk of damage, there's no chance of defending this objective. And here's already a 4v5, so they can just step up and go for this move. And okay, they go for the engage. This was a good engage from Khan, but the cask was a little bit too late, yet it's still, oh, that was a predict cask.
Yeah.
Oh, that was even better.
It was the perfect cask,
I didn't even see that. That was a predict cask. Oh, okay. That was great, because it also knocked him into the heroic entrance right at the end. That was sick. Because I was wondering, why was he saving it late? But it was a predict cask that was just beautiful. I'm sorry for not catching that one, cuz Khan.
They both start with K. And now Khan trying to come up from bots. And actually Longzhu is starting the Baron here. Even against the double mountain of MVP, this is their chance to try to steal it away. Beyond sticking around, he wants that steal. Longzhu looking to disengage now. No flash here from Khan anymore. You can see how much they're getting poked down. They're going to engage onto this Baron. Who's going to get it? The death sentence comes out. Even though Longzhu gets it, can they get out alive? Heroic entrance will knock up a bunch of members. Maha, though, on the right side is still available, doing tons and tons of damage because he takes them out. And that is a pretty huge pick there. But MVP still looking for the cleanup. The death sentence will be able to do it. Ian.
That's game.
Is going to do it with the teleports coming in. Enough members are taken out. Longzhu with the desperate play. It was not enough to keep them in this game because he's trying his best. But I doubt very, very much that he can take out this very tanky ADD, especially with the rest of his members coming on in. A slow Nexus takedown, but it will be one after all. And MVP are going to take out Longzhu in game number 1.
I cannot believe that MVP have come back to beat Longzhu out of all teams. And with such commanding fashion. Sure, they had some of the woes that might have plagued them earlier this split, but they looked so different. Confident was their play, to say the least. They knew what they were doing at all times. Everybody committed to the play, whether it was right or wrong. The fact that they were all on the same page is what made it work. You do a 50-50, but everybody's on the same page, there's a higher chance that the scale gets tilted or tipped on your side, and that's what MVP did this time around. They knew what they were going for at all times, and that results in a 41-minute win for them, and they have to be elated after this one, just knowing that they've come off Rift Rivals, and it's showing. And Longzhu's stunned.
Yeah, look at how depressed Prey looks after that loss. BDD too, he's like, God, I wish I didn't have to play Galio for that long of a game. But seriously, these guys, they have a lot of thinking to do after game number 1 getting taken out by MVP. Lots of mistakes made across the board for sure for this Longzhu team. Although MVP did play pretty well overall.
They played damn well.
There you have it. Played damn well. And yeah, I mean, Cuz definitely one of the members of Longzhu that had a lot of trouble in this game. They do end up converting on this play, which was a pretty sick mechanical maneuver by everybody involved, but still, after all.
And I think what's cool to see is that this composition from MVP is a hybrid. It's a mix of the traditional Korean comp that we saw before Rift Rivals combined with what we saw from LPL of the Corki and the Kog'Maw. And it just works. It's what beat the Korean teams there. Sure, okay, they played pretty badly. Samsung and SKT did drop a lot of games, but overall, China was focusing on a lot of just full on protect the Kog'Maw and protect the carries composition. But this was a mixture that had enough early game and enough late game to close out a game in commanding fashion against Longzhu. And in the end, Longzhu was so pressured. This was just a great move from EM that was such a key moment for this game for
That's
MVP
so cool.
to stall the game or for them to crack open the base. But I want to get to that final Baron. Okay, so we're going to see pretty much everything in the beginning.
After Khan misses that cast onto Maha, but they do get Ian, I think next time he's like, okay, I need to predict Maha's movements, which leads to that pretty sick cast that he got later.
Yeah, we'll wait for it. We know what's coming. Trade of 1-for-1 here, but every time that MVP, actually, we're not even going to see it? What?
There were too many things to show,
it
seems.
Okay.
MVP even down on kills, able to take the whip. Very much ahead in gold, and look at that ridiculous damage out of Corki. Actually, the Varus comes very close, only 300 damage behind.
Yeah, that crit build. Cannot underestimate the damage that Varus does between the abilities and the quick attack speed that he gets. He's very capable of taking down some of the tankiest of characters.
Yeah, so guys, it looks like we're ready to hop over to a break. When we come back, game number 2 of Longzhu Gaming versus MVP.